What's going on, good brothers and sisters? How are you, brothers and sisters, doing? I just said that, but listen, I want to invite you guys to the Analog Circle Podcast Roundtable Discussion, where I have my good brother who I have mentioned on the podcast many times because of his contributions to the Facebook group and him just being a dope person in general. You have heard from this gentleman before, but I want to reintroduce him to y'all, Mr. Lawrence Jones. How you doing this morning, my brother?
Well.
That is fantastic.
Doing well today.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for being here, brother. Now, the reason why I have you here, Brother Jones, is because you have been a person who has supported Xbox, for how long would you say you've been with Xbox, Lawrence?
I didn't jump on the Xbox bandwagon right away. It took me about until 2K5 came out for the Xbox. That's when I jumped on.
Gotcha. So that's still pretty early though, Lawrence. That's very early. That's like 2004, I guess. 2004. Mm-hmm. So you've been in the ecosystem 20 years then.
Wow. When you put it like that, yeah. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. So it's been a lot happening, Lawrence. I mean, a lot of different things that have been moving and shaking. So what I want to do, Lawrence, is I want to get your opinion. I want to take it back to February, because that's when, that's when the information started coming out that different things were happening. So back in February, we had started hearing rumblings that, certain games were going to be going over to PlayStation. At first, it started as rumors. Some people were saying it was Halo. It was going to be Forza. It was going to be, what was the other game? Gears of War was going over there. So, the three pillars of Xbox, the three pillars. But of course, that wasn't the case. But during that time, Lawrence, when these rumors were happening, what were your thoughts at that time when it was just rumors? Did you believe it was true? Did you think it was going to happen? Or did you just think, that's just hearsay, that doesn't really mean anything?
I thought it was basically just a lot of hearsay. I didn't take it to heart, because to be honest, Xbox hadn't said anything. Microsoft hadn't said anything. So I really did not let it bother me where I saw the whole industry unravel because they were losing their minds over Halo possibly coming to a PlayStation platform. But it really didn't bother me. Yeah,
I got you, Lawrence. Absolutely. I will be honest, I was one of the people. I said, man, hold on, man. Wait a second. Halo going over to PlayStation, Gears of War. I said, how is this good for anybody, or should I say the ecosystem of the Xbox brand? So once that happened, Lawrence, we got that infamous emergency podcast with I'm a name the doggone cohort.
Name names. Name the names.
You had Phil Spencer on the stage. You had the sister, golly, what's her name? Sarah Bond. She was on the stage. Mm-hmm. Then you had Matt Booty. Oh man, I got issues with Matt, brother. Good grief, the way these games have been going. Anyway, I'm gonna move past that, Lawrence. I'm gonna get past that, brother. But we had all three of them up on the stage. They had started talking to I forgot the interviewer's name, but when
was it Tina Amini?
It might have been. I think you might have something, Lawrence. I can't quite remember, brother. But when you heard Phil Spencer say on that stage, brother, we have 4 games going over to PlayStation pretty much as a test bed, as it were. He said Pentiment. I'm be honest with you, Lawrence, Pentiment didn't really move me, my brother. That wasn't too bad. But then when he said Hi-Fi Rush, I said, oh, man. And now, granted, Lawrence, of course, I don't have an Xbox Series X. I don't, or an S. But I know what that game is meant to some Xbox fans. So you had Hi-Fi Rush. Then you had Sea of Thieves that went over. And there was one more, Lawrence, that I cannot remember the name of.
What is that game that they, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids Outside?
Oh, yeah. And that's the reason why I can't remember it, my brother. Something ground.
Yeah, grounded.
Yeah, grounded. Absolutely. So when you heard that those 4 games, oh, bad lords, were coming over to PlayStation 5's brand, coming over to their console, as a Xbox fan, now you might feel differently, but as an Xbox fan, how did, what was the process of that? Like, what were your thoughts about where the brand was headed, the Xbox brand itself?
Well, they explained in that meeting that they did need to find new ways to create revenue. I got that. I really was not concerned because, to be honest, those games, some of them were darlings, but I probably played all of those games an hour total together. So, I mean, it wasn't something that I really was concerned about, but I did know that it wasn't going to stop with just those 4 games, because the bottom line was they were trying to find new ways to create revenue. And if the way that Sea of Thieves went over there and it kind of sold out, it was like, really high on the pre-order list. I'm like, okay, so if there are any other games that they see fit, they're going to put over there,
Yeah, when Sea of Thieves went over there, Lawrence, it sold 1 million.
Yes.
1 million copies, whether it was digital. I'm sure it was digital. I don't think you can get Sea of Thieves physically, but digitally, I said, oh, buddy. Oh, man. This is going to be a totally different ball game now. Totally different. Because, like you said, once they saw that success, especially Satya Nadella, he was going crazy. He said, oh, man, look at the numbers that we have over on PlayStation. Look how well we're selling. The game has sold 1 million copies. For me, Lawrence, I said, golly, because my thoughts on it, Lawrence, was this is making the brand, not necessarily obsolete, but I'll tell you what. Let me ask you.
It's devaluing the brand.
So you agree with that, though, Lawrence? You agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my thought too, because I'm saying, okay, you got some people out there that'll say, well, this is great for everybody. Everybody went, I want to hear that mess. I don't want to hear that, Lawrence. I want to know that even though I don't have an Xbox at the moment, because I got to stress that. I don't want to be up here acting like I'm, fake concerned, anything like that. I truly am genuinely concerned about the brand, because it is the last thing I would want to happen, Lawrence, and I've said it 1 billion times. Sorry to sound like a CD on repeat, brother, but I would hate to see only Nintendo and Sony out there. That is a terrible, terrible combination. You need Xbox out there, but excuse me, but man, I'm too excited, Lawrence. Let me calm down. Man, oh man, let me calm down for a second, brother. But you need Xbox out there to kind of make some balance, even though some people feel like we don't need them, what they bring to the table, it is necessary, because Nintendo, they are not going to fight Sony head up. They're just not going to do it. The games are going to be a generation and a half behind all the time. They don't make the kind of story-driven games that I enjoy, for the most part, as far as Nintendo goes, even though they have some great games. But it's just not the kind of games that I'm necessarily always going to want to play. And if you leave PlayStation out there by themselves, man, we saw what happened with the PlayStation 3 era, brother.
Yeah.
Sick. Go ahead. I ain't mean to cut you off, Lawrence. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was agreeing. I was agreeing with you. We saw that. And whoever was in charge, PlayStation,
Oh, was it Kaz Hirai at that time? I think was it Kaz Hirai? I think it was.
He's talking about go get another job.
Come on, man.
I took that to heart. I took that to heart personally because I was working 2 jobs.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man.
And that was like a gut punch. It was like, you're going to tell us to work 2 jobs, but you got your system way overpriced. So, we don't need PlayStation to be out there by themselves controlling nothing.
At all.
We can see what they're doing now is trying to nickel and dime us for everything that they put out. There's no goodwill. There's no we'll give you this for free or a discounted rate. No, they want their money. They want their money.
100%. Even so much to the point where they raised the price in Japan. Their home country. Now I get it, business is business, but this is the first time I've ever seen a console generation where it might have been cheaper when it first released to, years later, as opposed to getting it years later. Usually years later it's cheaper, the price drops.
Right. You're
able to get a better deal. This is the first time I can sit there and say, golly, early adopters actually made out better in this generation.
Right. They did.
Yeah, where the prices have been raised up more and more. So with that being said, Lawrence, we don't need PlayStation out there. And to be fair, now I get it. Now me as a PlayStation owner, PlayStation 5 owner, I can truly say that I haven't really had a problem playing games. I mean, I had God of War Ragnarok. I enjoyed that. Spider-Man 2 was great back at the time when it was exclusive. Kena Bridge of Spirits. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. One of the greatest games of this generation, Lawrence. One of the greatest, brother. So I've been definitely fed. But there definitely is criticism to go with PlayStation. They have been extremely quiet. Now that could all change this month. With September, we're talking about a state of play possibly happening in the middle of the month. They're going to be a Tokyo Game Show later on this month. Certain things could change during that time, but they have been so quiet. And I think the reason why they've been so quiet, Lawrence, is because, in my opinion, brother, Xbox has not been truly 100% competing with them to push them to do better. And I think that would be just a little look into what the future could possibly be with PlayStation. If they don't have anybody out there pushing them, they are not going to, I don't think they'll put their best foot forward. And that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, I think if I'm correct, I think Phil said their competition is not PlayStation anymore. And I'm thinking, okay, if your competition is not PlayStation, but you're playing with PlayStation, what does that do? When I say playing, when I say that, I mean you're just giving these games over, and I understand you have to have another avenue of revenue, but is that the way? I mean, who sat there and thought that was a great idea? Because they're already pushing this narrative of where you don't need an Xbox console. You don't need an Xbox console. And I'd say this, that is okay for all of those guys who are very casual gamers. People like you, me, and others, we're not casual and don't get me wrong, I have a Samsung TV that I can play games on, but the latency, it just doesn't feel like a full-fledged Xbox game. It doesn't.
Let me ask you about that, Lawrence, really quickly, because I have a Samsung TV as well that's able to do it. I will admit, H-Blade 2 had me a little tempted, brother. I was thinking about it. But my concern was the same thing, the latency. What exactly have you actually experienced that, Lawrence? The playing it on a Samsung TV? Have you actually tried it out?
Yeah, and I went straight to For Honor and games like that you play online, and the input latency, it's minute, but it's enough for a misstep. And I'm like, okay, I just can't do this, and other fighting games, you can't have that latency. You really can't. And that's what I focused in on. Now, if you're just playing, a regularly narrative story-driven game, it might do well. And to be honest, I hadn't tried it, but still in all, once I saw that there was such, a deep line in the latency, I was like, okay, I can't do this. I can't.
I understand. Yeah, because it's I don't think that cloud gaming, at least in its state right now, it is no way it can replace a console, no. As far as like the latency. I mean, was your buffering or anything like that, was that okay? Or as far as the pixelation and all that went, Lawrence?
Well, actually, I did play Starfield, and there was a little pixelation, and it might have been buffering, but still in all, it was, you can tell that the textures weren't right.
Right.
And then after a while, maybe the textures set in, but, when I moved from one area to another, things didn't just seem the way they should seem. So, and I think that was when I was like, okay, that was it. That was enough,
Gotcha.
So, like I said, it might be good for the casuals, but I can't.
No, it's fully understandable, Lawrence. And that was another thing that has really just, it's grinded my gears a little bit. Like, why do you continuously just devalue your hardware? I mean, in big, bold letters, no console required. It's like, right. Good grief. Where is the appreciation, like you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, Lawrence, for your hardcore fan base? Mm-hmm. Understand, like you said, Lawrence, look, I know you need to get your money back. You got to recoup that. It's understandable, but it's a certain kind of way that you should go about it. You look over at PlayStation isn't saying no console required. PC, certain games day and date, when it goes over there. Nintendo, we don't even know where the heck they are right now. They're just off in their own world. But here you have Microsoft that has this, they have this habit, Lawrence, in my opinion, that they're just way too early to the dance, brother. They got the tuxedo on, they got the shoes on, and they're standing there in a building where nobody has shown up to it yet. Nobody has come to the party yet. And they're saying this is going to be the biggest thing ever. We're just here waiting for y'all to file in. It doesn't work that way all the time. We're still enjoying consoles. Not too many people. I don't know anybody that's really gaming on cloud. Not seriously, like really sitting down and doing a play session every day on the cloud versus the console. Now, of course, I don't speak for everybody. I got a small circle of friends, very, very small circle, but nobody is saying, oh man, hey Keys, man, brother, I was on the cloud last night. It was so lit, brother. It was amazing. I don't have anybody having that conversation with me. So it just baffles my mind that this generation, I mean, think about this, Lawrence. Think about this. Okay. Those 4 games, they come over. 1 out of the 3, I would say, was probably a big success because I don't think Hi-Fi Rush really sold like that. No. Pentiment, I darn sure don't think that sold too well, brother. Even though, hold on, Lawrence, how did you feel, brother? Oh, man. What? With Pentiment, when, of course, on the Xbox version, it was 60 frames per second, right? Now, we know Pentiment, man, that joke is a flash game, pretty much for the most part. But how did you feel, Lawrence? And I'm laughing because I was hot, and I don't even know why. I don't have an Xbox. I don't have a fight, a dog in a fight as far as that situation goes. But did it make you feel any kind of way when you found out that Pentiment, even though as bad as it looks, that it was running at 120 frames per second on the PlayStation version, and they made it 60?
I didn't understand that.
Oh, man.
The most powerful console that we have, that's what they was touting, the most powerful console that they have, and you can't get it to run at 120. I mean, at least have, where you can adjust the frame rate or something, give me some options. No, you are locked in at this 60. But over here on PlayStation, they go to 120. That does not make sense.
Man.
And I think I heard someone explain this another way. Xbox or Microsoft, they'll give you something good, and then they'll turn to the left and step on the rake every time. And I'm starting to really believe that.
That was the thing, Lawrence. I have to agree, my brother. And this is not for the audience listening. This is not a bash session on Xbox. It's truly not. It's honestly just critiques and things that we see as fans. That's truly what it is. And Lawrence, to your point, with those rakes, you're right, man. They can have so many things going great for them.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't get it either. Leadership or whatever's coming from the top all the way down, they find a way to just botch all of the goodwill that they have put out there. And again, they knew about this bug. Just getting back to Pentiment just for a second, they knew that this bug existed on Xbox and never corrected it until it went over to the competing platform and they were able to run it at 120. Could you imagine, Lawrence? Just picture this, brother. Could you imagine certain games going over to PlayStation actually running better than they do on the Xbox Series X or S? To me, it just seems like, again, I don't know, Lawrence, as a fan, brother, do you, I don't want to coerce your answer. Of course I can't do that. You're your own man, but I want to ask you, as an Xbox fan, how has Xbox been making you feel? Let's say over the last, let's not even say this year, like over the last 2 years, Lawrence, how have you been feeling about the Xbox brand?
Well, I can say it's been a challenging ride. I'm like I said, I got in, when I did, and I love the brand. Don't get me wrong. I love the brand. Their experiences, you can get there, you can't get nowhere else. But over the past year, it's been a struggle because it's like, okay, for one, their messaging is so bad. It's so bad. And, they tell you one thing. Okay. In that business meeting, Phil said, and I heard this on a repeating clip, that Starfield and what was the other game?
Oh, I got you, Lawrence. It was going to be Starfield and Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Indiana was not coming to PlayStation.
Woo!
Look what happened. Phil assassinated us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, I was going to get to that, Lawrence, but I'm glad you mentioned it, brother. I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, now back to the stepping on the rakes.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward a little bit, Lawrence, because I really, really wanted to get your thoughts on this. I want to fast forward to a happy time, a very happy moment in the Xbox brand. In June, the showcase. Lawrence, my brother.
Yeah.
When I saw that showcase, first off, no, let me ask you. When you saw that showcase, Lawrence, all of the games that they showed, the pacing of the show, how were you feeling as an Xbox fan that may, now I don't want to put words in your mouth, Lawrence, but that may have felt, like, where's the brand head? I don't know. How did you feel before that show, Lawrence? What were your feelings towards the Xbox brand at that time before the June show?
Before the June show, I didn't know how to feel about the brand because there were a lot of things that, keep coming out. And yeah, they try to reassure the fans with that business meeting, but their actions since then have, between the business meeting and the June showcase, they don't match up. They really don't match up. And once the showcase came out and like the pacing of it, all those games and the way that everything just flowed, I was like, okay, Xbox got their thing together now. They're in that position where we all thought they would be when the ABK deal went through, and okay, they stacked up. We ready to rock with PlayStation now. What's up, PlayStation? What you got for us? That's how I was feeling. But since then, man, it's like, how many rakes do you have to line up in the yard to realize that maybe you just don't need to do nothing and find another way, a direction to do something else.
Absolutely. Hey, Lawrence, let me tell you something, brother. When I saw that show, I was so amped up, man. I was so excited. When I saw that the new Doom game coming out, oh my gracious. Oh my goodness. I said, wow, that is going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. Only thing though, Lawrence, oh man, I know. The only thing was when I found out that it was going to PlayStation Day and date. I said, man, why can't you just stagger it? Anybody that saw that Doom game knows that's going to be one of those. That's going to be one of them.
That could be one of those. Oh, I got to get an Xbox to play this new Doom. That system seller. So, but no, they threw the rake down and they ran right over it. I mean, I don't get it. It's crazy.
It is unreal, Lawrence. It truly is, man. They showed off Doom. I can't remember the whole order of the show, but
I saw it in bits and pieces too. And Doom was actually the first.
That was the first one shown. Yeah, that was the first game out the gate. To my, from what I can remember. But then they showed off the game Something of Midnight, South of Midnight.
Yeah, South of Midnight.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this looks good. This looks really interesting. With the kind of stop. I call it the Rankin Bass motion, like that kind of stop start animation or whatever. So I was like, that looks good. And I mean, all of the other games in between were real. I mean, they were showing up in a major way, Lawrence. I was sitting there just like, this is the greatest Xbox showcase I have ever seen. But I mean, bar none. The greatest one I'd ever seen, Lawrence. The pacing, the games, at the time, the exclusives that we thought were going to be on there. I'm like, good grief, this is incredible. And then when they closed the show out with Gears of War, E-Day. Hey, Lawrence, I got to ask you, brother, what was that like for you, brother? Looking at the show and seeing them close it out with one of those iconic franchises under the Xbox banner.
Well, I have been thirsting for a new Gears, but they went way beyond my expectations because this is a prequel to the first Gears of War. and we see Dom. And when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I know I'm in the Gears of War universe, but is that Dom? What is that Marcus? Wow, what? And I was like, okay, it was great to watch. I had to watch it like 2 or 3 times because I'm like, okay, what did I miss? But Gears of War coming back in such a huge way, and please do not. I just want them to keep it console exclusive.
Yes.
Yes. Don't come, 14 months from now talking about, we're going to, because if they do that, and I'm not going to give you no fake outrage. If they do something like that, I'm not saying that I'm throwing my hat in for Xbox, but they don't respect me as a player. They don't respect me as a gamer. They don't respect the money that I invested in their, in system, flat out.
Exactly. I agree with that, Lawrence, 100%. I believe that certain games should not go to another platform. PC is another thing. I get that. Right. I've kind of wrapped my head around that. I'm still not a big fan of it. I'm still not, but I get it, but
right.
Putting it over on the competing platform. And like you had mentioned earlier, Lawrence, which was a good point. They say that PlayStation isn't their competition, but yet they're in the same circle, though. It's no way around it. It's like being a boxer and saying, well, these guys aren't really my competition, but you're in the same field as these guys fighting for a championship, a.k.a. the most units sold. You're trying to make sure that you're covering as many people as you can. You're trying to sell the best product that you can.
Right.
So with that, I just feel like they definitely need to keep some things on their platform. And could you imagine, come on, Lawrence, brother, could you imagine just even after, and I understand I forgot the case that was going on, the Activision case. What is it? The FTC. The FTC.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I understand they put a couple of hooks in the Xbox or whatever, over Call of Duty and all of that stuff. But Lawrence, another rake that these guys have stepped on, whether it was their own fault or not. I mean, I'm not going to 100% blame them because I don't know what the rules and regulations were, when it came to the deal. But them not being able to tell people that Call of Duty is in Game Pass day and date. They can't even tell people that one of the biggest games every year that releases is going to be in their service day and date, Lawrence. Can't even.
My thing is, how long is that stipulation in there for? Really, how long is it? I mean, it's something that, okay, they can't advertise it, okay, but is, so for this season of Call of Duty, it's a nix. They can't do it. But can they do it next year or the year after?
Lawrence, from what I understand, brother, the only thing that I have to go off of is they said that it's a 10-year deal. The 10-year deal. I know you know this too, Lawrence, but, they got 10 years to be able to give it to where they have to give it to PlayStation. They got to give it to Nintendo. They got to give it to, I think it was a streaming service out there. They had to make it available on. But I think for the next, after this one, 9 years, after this Call of Duty comes out, I think that they may be, of course, I don't know 100%. I'm just going off of what the deal said, but I'm guessing that they may have to do this for another 9 years, Lawrence, possibly. And I'm only saying 9 because this Call of Duty is right around the corner, so.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So, but it's just they have just handicapped themselves, to a certain degree of just not being able to tell people. Could you imagine, Lawrence, for people that haven't switched over to this generation? And we know that as far as the PlayStation numbers go, 50% of those guys have not come over to this generation. They're still on the PlayStation 4. Could you imagine, Lawrence, how well they could do by just saying, look, you can go out there and get a Series S, because not everybody's the hardcore like us. You know, they just want a console that can get them into this generation. But I'm just sitting there thinking, Lawrence, it could be amazing for them if they could advertise Call of Duty day one, Game Pass day and date, get a Series S for $299 and get a month of Game Pass inside of, the package or something like that. I think it could really move numbers. I'm not saying they're going to do 20 million or 15 million, by the end of the year, but I think that it could be a great jump off point, a great starting point to get more momentum going into their brand. But they can't even do that.
They can't. They can't do that.
Man. So it's like they have all of these. They got two of the biggest publishers in gaming, Lords. Two of the biggest ones. And it seems like, as it stands right now, Lawrence, it just seems like it's not, as far as pushing the Xbox brand. Of course, Microsoft, they're going to make billions off of this, of course. Oh, yeah. But like I say, Lawrence, I don't care about their money. The only thing that matters to me with the money is, are you making enough to keep your doors open? Because I want you around. That's it. People that talk about, oh man, but they're making more money than PlayStation. They're doing better than PlayStation financially. And I'm like, but how does that equate to better games? How does that equate to you as a gamer, getting more out of it? Just because they're making money doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to dump it all back into, what they got going on. You would hope so. We would all hope so, Lawrence, that that's what they would do. But who's to say that that's what they would do, to a certain degree, because
that's true. I mean, they might say, okay, well, the Xbox, y'all made this month, but we're going to take half and reallocate that throughout the entire Microsoft industry. But y'all make go out there and make some more money. Go out there and make some more. Isn't that what a pimp does? I mean, what?
There you go. Exactly. You did good right now. You going out there, get some more of that. Absolutely, man. So Lawrence, we got all of these great games at that E3. Well, I keep saying E3. It's such a force of habit, but at that game show, I mean, it's not
showcase.
Showcase.
Xbox
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, brother. At the showcase, we got all of these great games. I was on cloud nine, brother. I'm gonna be honest with you, Lawrence. I shed a tear that day, brother. I shed a tear, man. I was like, wow, they are really fighting back. They're fighting. They are really giving their best foot forward. They're putting their best foot forward. They showed all of these games. Great pacing. It was like they listened to everything that the fans were, telling them to do. And it all culminated. I don't even know if that's the right word right there, Lawrence, but it all came together.
Yeah, it did.
And
it really did.
This amazing showcase. So, Lawrence, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get a Series X now. I have to. I gotta get one. I have to. Lawrence, here we go with the rake, brother. Here we go. Rake part 10 right now. We get to Gamescom. Lawrence, let me tell you something. Now, Jeff Keighley, at one point in time, I was like, oh man, this dude got something. He got something. His showcases are pretty good. He's doing well. Over the summer, I was like, whoa, you dropped off the side of the highest building as far as like the games that he was showing. It was so many PC games and all of that stuff. I'm like, it's not a lot of console games being shown, especially not a lot of big ones that would interest me. So going into Gamescom, I was a little shaky. Lawrence. I was like, I don't know how good this show is going to be, but I'm going to tune in. Tuned in. It was going all right. Not really, but it was decent enough. But when they got to that Indiana, oh man, they got to the Indiana Jones announcement, brother. I'm sitting there. Did you see this moment, Lawrence? Did you see this moment, my brother?
I didn't see the moment. I did not see the moment. I heard about it, and then I started to look for it, and I was like, nah, I don't need to see that. I don't. Because I can imagine, to me, Jeff Keighley always looked like he got something that you don't see behind him, and he knows it. Like just a glint in his eye. And so, yeah, I got something for you. You just don't know what it is. I mean, and with this going down the way it did, one more thing.
That was how it started. Go ahead, Mom.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. I don't understand. My thing is, doesn't Jeff Keighley have a bone to pick with Xbox or something?
I thought so too. A lot of people say that he prefers the PlayStation brand. He doesn't really rock with the Xbox brand too much.
Right.
So I would have thought that he would have been the last person that they actually gave access to for something like that. But people were pointing out, Lawrence, that that when he was making that announcement, Lawrence, it was like he was almost rubbing his hands together.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's going to tear up the gaming streets with this one. Like he was taking almost glee and just so happy to be able to almost rip the hearts out of Xbox fans with this announcement. And Lawrence, I'm going to tell you, brother, when I saw that, I said, all hope is lost, man. This is it.
Yeah.
You just said, Phil, you just said, to your point earlier, Lawrence, that Indiana Jones and Starfield were not going over there. Yes. They're not going. And you're talking about, what's that, February, March, April, May, June, July. That was in July, right? No, August. Yes, it was August. Was it August? Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it was August.
I think it was August. Yeah. So like 6 months later, so 6 or 7 months later, here it is. Indiana Jones is coming to the PlayStation 5. I said, come on. This is absolutely, again, another hitting of the rake yet again, brother. And it's like, go ahead, Lawrence.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why did you have to do that there, Lawrence? Why couldn't you have given the Xbox fan base just this moment of happiness that December, I think it's coming out with December 6th or the 9th?
Oh, the 9th.
Yeah, well,
I think it's the 9th.
Okay, the 9th. Just give them this moment. They've been rocking with you for this long. They've rocked with you through the different droughts that have happened over the years. And finally, you have a lot of great things to offer them. One of the highlighted games of the year that's coming out on your platform, and you don't even give it 30 seconds, Lawrence, before you say, oh, and guess what, though, guys? It's also going to PlayStation 5. Yeah. I said, golly, go ahead, Lawrence. I'm sorry, brother.
No, I mean, you touched on just about everything I was going to touch on, because you did not give it no breathing room. No breathing. I mean, I'm pretty sure he took all the air out of the room when he said that. And people, like you said, you didn't give the fans time enough to just not even revel in it, just turn around in the great news that they had. Jeff Keighley, and like you said, it's like he's just rubbing his hands together. Ooh, I got this, And I don't understand, of all people, why him. Okay, there are plenty other people they could have put there, and not only that, you could have announced this next month in something. Somehow just put it out there. Oh, you're in a tweet or something. I don't know. You don't have to have a whole business meeting for that. You didn't. but you could have given the fans like myself time to enjoy, this good news that we just heard. Great news. I mean, but no, they didn't want to do that. I don't understand why. I'm going to need an explanation, Xbox, why that, you don't even appreciate your fans that way, to let them, have this piece of cake without someone flipping the plate on you and pushing it in your face,
I agree, Lawrence. It's always been, man, how can I say it? It's always baffled me, over the last couple of years. I want to ask you this, Lawrence. I got to ask you this, brother, because I didn't ask you this the last time. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Because I think I've been completely wide open as to what my thoughts are on this person. Okay. Well, what are your thoughts on Phil Spencer? He's been there in the Xbox driver's seat. This year makes 10 years. He's been in that driver's seat. What are your thoughts on him? Do you think he's been good for the brand? Do you think he's hurt the brand? Do you think that he's maybe elevated it or devalued it? Please go, Lawrence. How do you feel about him, brother?
I think, he's better than Don Matrick. Okay. that's a step up. But since he's taken on the weight, and he has carried Xbox from an era of obscurity because there was so much damage control he had to cover from Don Matrick. And he has brought us, as far as fans, to really appreciate the Xbox brand. However, since the whole acquiring of ABK, it's been kind of wishy-washy, and to be honest, I can't trust him now. I can't trust nothing he says. I mean, you have that clip where, Starfield is not going to PlayStation. Indiana Jones is not going to PlayStation. Okay, you told a half lie right there. You did. And who knows, the other lie might come at the end of the year because, right now I'm feeling some kind of way about Phil. I really am, and who's to say that he's not being manipulated or, pushed to this way? Because when we got to know Phil, he seems like a generally good guy.
He does. I'll agree with you on that, Lawrence. He does seem like a genuinely nice guy. He does.
Yeah. But I just can't trust him moving forward. If he's in a press conference or he's in an interview, I can't trust what he says now. I just can't. I have to take what he says with a teaspoon full of salt because I just can't trust him. He's proven not to tell the truth. I'm just going to put it out there. He's proven not to tell the truth. And like I said, don't get me wrong. I like Phil. I like what he's done for the brand. I like it seems like he has been that person that the fans needed to represent us and represent us behind closed doors in those other meetings because he's a gamer too. So, I mean, it's like, with the way things are going now, I'm like, is this the same dude?
Yeah, man. Hey, Lawrence, listen, brother. I have I will say this about Phil. I have definitely given this man I can't say grief because he doesn't know me. I don't really know him, but I've had a lot of things to say about Phil, and
yes, you have. Yeah.
And the moment I can say it all started, though, it all stemmed from him actually saying that they were going to be putting games on PC day and date. Mm-hmm. And I said right then and there, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem that happened in 2016. It was a Quantum Break. 2016. When he said that, I said, why would you do this to the brand? Why would you? And I know that some people have said that games have been on PC from Xbox for years. You know, it's always been that way, Halo and various other games. But I was saying to myself, why put it on Front Street, though? I mean, you've been having people come into your brand. They've been, getting the games on your brand. If they want it on PC, they know where to get it. You don't have to go out there. It was almost, to me, that was the moment where he pretty much said, no console required. No console required. Because now you're giving people an option of where else they can go, and you're actually putting it in bright lights. Oh, you don't need to buy this game here. You can buy it on PC. Matter of fact, if you buy it on PC or if you buy it on the console, you can get the PC version for free. Why don't you go on over there and just, try it out a little bit for yourself. And then you look today at the landscape. Now, of course, this is a very, very small population of people, but you have people now saying they're done with the Xbox. They're just going to go to PC. They're going to go to PC and play. Since I can get my games over there, I'd rather go there, because people are getting frustrated, Lawrence, that you can't get the 60 frames per second on every game. Some games are running at 30. They just want what was promised to them, because remember, that was another stepping of the rake. And this time that was under, golly, I'm forgetting his name right now, but he's like the marketing guy. Aaron Greenberg.
Yeah.
He was saying before this generation started that the minimum spec or the standard was going to be 60 frames per second, 60 to 120 frames per second. And we see that even Avowed, of course, Avowed hasn't released yet, so I got to shoot it some bail. They could put it in there eventually, but as it stands now, they're shooting for 30 frames per second, so.
With Avowed, I'm like this. If Avowed comes out, it needs to come out at 60. Don't, break it up and be like, okay, in 6 months, we'll have it later on this year. No. And I just don't understand, the things that they're doing. I mean, you hit on some valid points, and that something I even forgot about, because when he did say that, people were playing Xbox games on PC, but he didn't have to announce it. He really did not. I think, like you said, from that point on, they built the momentum on this no console thing. And now they're really putting it out there in bright lights. You don't need a console, but you do. I'm sorry, you do. You do. Playing games on, I guess, from my experience, playing it on a Samsung TV, it's like buying your most tastiest beverage, filling the cup halfway and filling the rest with water.
Oh, that is perfect, Lawrence. Man, say that again, Lawrence.
Yeah, I see it.
You said
it's like buying your favorite beverage, filling the cup halfway, and then fill the rest up with water. And I'm just speaking for the Samsung thing. I don't know how the Fire Stick is going.
It's rough.
Everything else.
It's rough. So it's pretty much, that is a perfect, man, that's a perfect metaphor. It's pretty much watered down gaming for the most part. It's just watered down, barely any flavor. I got you. Yeah. And that's the thing. So all of these things have happened under Phil Spencer's watch. All of them, Lawrence. Now, granted, some people can say, and we know that he's not the boss. We know Satya Nadella. Right. Everything comes down from him. So we know that he doesn't have complete control. But some of these things, Lawrence, I have to imagine some of these things happened well before Satya Nadella was even there. So like the console, the games going to PC day and date. I was like, man, why does it have to be day and date? So that happened under Phil. The cloud, understand Satya, from what I've heard, Satya Nadella is kind of trying to push the cloud a little bit more. So I get that Phil Spencer's hands are going to be tied to a certain extent with that. But I would say, you have people in certain positions, because they know more than you know. Any successful person has people around him that know more than he knows. So I would think that, with Phil Spencer being the guy that he's supposed to be running Xbox, now who knows? Phil might be telling Satya Nadella that, hey, we actually need certain exclusives to keep to our platform so that people will buy it. That could be a possibility, but Phil Spencer has been out there saying for years that he wants everybody to play games. We want everybody to enjoy games all over the world. We want to bring everybody together. And I'm saying to myself, look, Lawrence, brother. Okay. I'm saying to myself, Phil, that sounds all fine and great, brother. It's great. You want to have games, all over the planet for everybody to enjoy. We all want gaming to grow bigger and bigger. We don't want it to stay the same size because, that's the problem that they say is going on now with it not expanding. It's making it harder to, generate more revenue. So of course we want more people to experience it. But my thing was, but Phil, concentrate on your platform first, brother, before you want to go trying to fix up somebody else's house and renovating it and putting all of this nice hardwood floors down and HVAC and all of this stuff. Make sure your house is up and running, great first. Make sure you're taking care of home first. And I feel like with the Xbox brand, they haven't taken care of home the way that they should have been. And it's got to the point now where they just stepping out with a mistress in broad daylight now, brother, a.k.a. PlayStation 5. They going out on dinner dates with the paparazzi right there flashing and don't even care, that, hey, yeah, I'm out here with them, and so what? It's just got to that point now. So they just haven't, in my opinion, been taking care of home like they should, Lawrence.
I wholeheartedly agree because if it's, I don't know, the way I was raised, you got to take care of home first, then go out and hang out with the boys, do this and, do everything else. And we just acquired that ABK deal, Activision, the whole 9 yards. Now, had this announcement for Indiana Jones and everything had happened sometimes next year, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
I would not be upset at all. But see, every time they give us something new, they turn around and step on a rake every single time. And I don't understand their messaging or what. It might be, it's probably out of Phil's hands, I would say. But still, Phil is taking all these arrows, and I'm throwing a couple of them, to be honest. I am, I sure am.
Rightfully so, Lawrence.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love the brand, but what they're doing right now just does not make sense. And for me to articulate those words after being a fan for so long, you got to realize something's wrong. Something's wrong.
100%, absolutely, and it even got to the point now. Lawrence, I'm a big Astrobot fan, right? Huge. Okay. I love that game. It shocked me though, to find out that, because you just mentioned Activision, that's what kind of triggered my memory. They are going to have Crash Bandicoot inside of Astrobot. Astrobot is, a PlayStation game is going to have like a Crash Bandicoot skin or something like that inside of the game. And I'm just saying to myself, I get it. Some people might say it's a minute thing. It doesn't really matter. But it's just the fact that you keep showing up for this PlayStation platform, even if it's in the smallest way, by allowing them to do this. I mean, you've shown up for Nintendo, with, what's his name? The bear. I'm forgetting his name because Banjo-Kazooie.
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, Banjo-Kazooie.
No, the Banjo.
Yeah, Banjo. Oh, you're good. You're good, Lawrence. Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie, having him show up in Super Smash Brothers. Right. And it's just like, man, you're giving all of this stuff away to everybody else. And that's the other thing that really frustrates me, Lawrence. You're giving all of this stuff out to everybody else, wanting to be friends, sharing your toys. Here, you take this toy, you take this toy. Then you look up, what are they doing for you? I mean, of course, you could say, well, they're giving me money. I get that. But as a gamer, as a person that bought your brand, as a gamer, as a fan, what does that do for that gamer if they're not also showing the same kind of love and giving you some of their games as well? I know some people would say, well, that's far-fetched, but should it be if you're out there giving them different things that, they want, but they're not giving you anything?
Not a thing. And I don't understand that. You're right. They're putting now everything that they've acquired everywhere else. And okay, we're not getting anything from PlayStation. I don't expect nothing from Nintendo because Nintendo, they're not going to give you nothing. They're not going to let Mario play with Crash Bandicoot. They're not. They're not going to do that. They're going to not put Princess Peach in a game with Sonic or something like that. Well, I don't know. I can't say that.
I know what you mean.
That.
It's the Olympics. Yeah. I know the Mario Olympics or whatever, but I know what you mean. No, I get what you're saying, Lawrence. I know what you mean.
But see, we're just spreading all of our IPs everywhere. And like you said, if it's just a skin in Crash Bandicoot in Astrobot, okay. And there might, they did say they need to find new ways of getting more revenue. Okay.
That's true.
But the look of everything that is happening, let's just say, like I said, since the ABK deal went down, the look of what they're doing doesn't sit right. It doesn't. Yeah, and I'm not going to apologize for saying that because it just does not look right.
Yeah. No, it's the optics, 100%. The optics are looking extremely funny right now, Lawrence. And let me ask you this, Lawrence. Do you have a PlayStation 5 yet?
No, I'm still waiting on a Pro. Oh,
man. Hey, did you see those leaked images earlier this week of the Pro?
Yes, I did.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. I really am, Lawrence. So wait a minute. Go ahead, okay. Lawrence. Please go ahead.
My question is, what is that going to cost? Because like you said earlier, the gaming thing has not, by this time, you should be able to get these consoles half price, and if anything, the Pro should come in right at or just be above where, the pricing started with the consoles.
Yeah.
So what are we going to look at? $600-$700?
Hey, Lawrence, I got this thought, brother. I hope it's not true because my pockets can't handle it, brother. It can't.
Neither can mine.
But I got a feeling, Lawrence, I just have this thought that it's going to come in between, and you might say you are bugging, Kiaun, you are wilding, but I would say between $600 and $650.
That's about right. Yeah, I think so. And if it does, I'm running to Best Buy and buying the regular PlayStation. I'm not going to do that. No. Mm-mm. I can take the extra couple $100 to buy some controllers.
Yes.
How about that?
Lord say, y'all ain't getting me, man. I'm going to get this regular joint right here. It's going to play all of the games that I want to play anyway. Man, I hear you, Lawrence. And that's the thing. Just thinking about this, the Indiana Jones coming over to PlayStation, Doom being on PlayStation day and date. And I understand that's one of those franchises that has always been on PlayStation. I get
I mean,
that. And
it's always been on Xbox. Always been on Xbox. I don't remember it ever being on PlayStation. Even when I was a hardcore PlayStation guy, I had never seen Doom on PlayStation at all.
Really? No, it's available. Hold on.
Is it?
Let me check. Let me make sure, brother. I thought I had it under control. I thought it was always there. It's one of those franchises that has always been on there. I'm like 100% sure, but it's always good to check. Let's see.
I don't remember it being up there. I remember Quake being on PlayStation.
Let's see.
And
is Doom on PlayStation? Hold on. Is Doom on PlayStation?
According to PlayStation, Doom Eternal, PS4 and PS5 games, PlayStation.
Yeah, it's on that, Lawrence. I thought so. Yeah, Doom Eternal.
Okay.
Yes, it's one of those franchises that's always been everywhere. It's been everywhere. So, I mean, it makes sense, that would be the case. Just like I'm sure, unfortunately, we don't know yet, but Fallout will probably be on PlayStation. All of those franchises that have always been there. Wolfenstein probably will be. So, just thinking about it from that standpoint of, you got these games that are coming over to PlayStation. You still got from Xbox, but you still got PlayStation games staying on PlayStation. It almost makes a person want to just go out and get a PlayStation because you don't know how many, games are going to stay exclusive on the Xbox brand. It's some people that think that Starfield will be coming next. And at one point in time, I would have been like, nah, I don't think so. I think that's going to be there. But again, to your point earlier, the way Phil Spencer is moving, the things that he says, you can't trust him. You can't trust what he says because he'll switch it up on you 4 or 5 months later like he never said what he just said,
Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah.
I agree totally.
Yeah. So it's just very, very interesting, man. But Lawrence, brother, I don't want to hold you too much longer. So I want to just ask you one final question, Lawrence. What is your overall feeling of Xbox as far as, will you stay with the brand until it's all said and done? Or do you feel like you're not getting that amount of, respect as a customer from them where you may just kind of tiptoe off and just maybe leave the brand? I'm just curious to know, what are your thoughts overall on where you stand with the brand today?
It's a combination of both the things you just said. I'm going to stay with the brand. I'm not going to have no fake outrage where I'm leaving Xbox, because they're throwing their games everywhere else. So I'm never going to play. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. However, what I am going to do, like I said, depending on that price of that PlayStation 5 Pro, I'll start to venture out to buy games on PlayStation 5. Once I get a PlayStation 5, and then I'll have to reevaluate, where am I going to, play most of my games at? Because the way things are going now, everything is going to PlayStation 5. And don't get me wrong, I like, to me, and you don't play games online, and this is what got me so invested in Xbox itself, because of the whole online feature. Now, I've played games online on PlayStation, and it's just something different about the atmosphere online, and maybe coming from the beginning of Xbox's, online, the whole bro muscle thing, and, the bro shooters and all that stuff, maybe come from them. Maybe those guys have cultivated an environment now that is a bit more mature.
Yeah.
And, you have a little bit more conversational, where on PlayStation, you don't know what you walk into when you go into a room or, but for me as a customer, I don't feel that they value me, period. Now, I'm not going to champion myself for them no longer. I will say that, because if a conversation would come out and to be PlayStation versus Xbox, I'd always jump on the Xbox side with valid points. Now I'm going to have to take a step back from that because they're not valuing me. They're not understanding that I put money into this where, because I appreciate their brand. I give them money. They're supposed to give me something, not give me something and then give what I value to everybody else.
Right.
But we'll see. By the end of the year, come back at me and ask me that question again.
I got you, Lawrence. To be continued, brother. To be continued. Lawrence, as always, brother, thank you so much for being here again. Thank you again for everything that you do over on the Facebook group, the Analog Circle Facebook group. And I truly, truly appreciate your honesty, all of your great points, and just just evaluating the brand, from a Xbox fan standpoint. I truly, truly appreciate that, brother.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I enjoy it, and we're all gamers, and the more we have communication between gamers and between social media, hopefully it will generate a better environment.
Absolutely, brother Jones. Again, I want to thank you so much for being here. And I will definitely check in with you in a couple months to see how you're feeling about the brand and to get your thoughts on the PlayStation 5, because I want you to, when you feel like controller, brother, I don't want to oversell it, but Astrobot is going to be in the box, when you buy it. I want to get your thoughts on that as well. So,
all right.
Yes, indeed. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. And I guess we will be back at it possibly on Sunday. My schedule's a little hectic right now, so we might not be recording until Wednesday, but we will see. But anyway, with that being said, as always, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.